Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk may now call the roll.
Councilmember Porter is absent. Councilmember Middleton. Present. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Mostly here.
Councilmember Dundon.
Present.
Councilmember Costi.
Present.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Present.
Council President Matavetsky.
Present.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we will begin by approving the minutes from the business meeting on June 26, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilwoman Middleton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, we'll move to approving the minutes from the special business meeting on June 27th. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilwoman Middleton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. Now move on to reports from committees and commissions. Does anyone have anything from? No. Councilwoman Middleton.
I would like to set up a meeting. I guess we'll talk about that next week regarding the noise ordinance, I guess. What's it? What's it, 24 hours in advance we have to give? Okay, so we'll set one up next week so we can have
So-
a public hearing.
Public hearing or a committee meeting?
I'm
Committee.
sorry, a committee meeting. We'll have it set up for next week for a committee meeting for the noise ordinance.
Okay, so stay tuned, watch the website, it'll get posted.
Yes.
Anyone else? Traffic board is canceled tomorrow. There is a commission for the conservation of the environment tomorrow at 2:30. Neither of these have met since we last had a meeting, so no notes. All right. We have no public hearings to set today, nor do we have any public hearings scheduled for this meeting, so we'll move on to public comment. We have our public comment sign. We're gonna get a public comment sign added up there, but we'll get rolling. So if you come up, if you have something you'd like to share, you have 5 minutes to speak. And please be respectful. And if there's multiple people that want to speak, you can queue up in these 3 seats over here so we can have quick turnover between speakers. So come on up and take your 5 minutes. Welcome. Should I say welcome back?
Good evening, council. My name is Frank Steno. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Binghamton. And I've made my career in the Building and Construction Trades Council, so I would like to add a public comment on the resolution for responsible bidder language. So first off, thank you to our elected city officials here for your consideration, your review. I know this has been something that everyone has been a focus for the past several months, for all of your hard work and due diligence to be sure that there's no negative impact both to our residents from such a proposal. I support this in the city of Binghamton, as responsible bidder language takes into consideration best value, which is what our elected reps should be looking for. And this is also what our constituents, what your constituents should demand. A thorough evaluation process ensures that our taxpayers get a proper return on their investment and that qualified contractors are awarded bids. Passing responsible bidder language in the city of Binghamton would help reinforce this. So although New York State has some good legislation for worker protections, typically what is lacking is the compliance piece in that. Strengthening these worker protections by adding responsible bidder language in the city of Binghamton would provide a mechanism to limit or remove any contractors from working on future municipal contracts if they are found to be willful in violation. So I appreciate the time for public comment, and I look forward to this coming to a vote here this evening.
Thank you. Next. Welcome.
Hi, my name's Brandon Montagne. I represent the New York Foundation for Fair Contracting. I am not a resident of the city of Binghamton. I live up near Albany. However, my organization works throughout the entire state, and Binghamton is one of my focus areas as a senior analyst in the organization. Our organization is a private watchdog group for public works construction. What we do is we utilize freedom of information requests to check on contractors to make sure that they're following the letter of the law, whether it has to do with prevailing wage, responsible bidder language, GML 103, etc. I'm here today to say that the New York Foundation for Fair Contracting and myself, as our representative here in the Binghamton area, strongly supports local law number 3 of 2024, the responsible bidder ordinance. At the end of the day, this is common sense legislation. I look forward to seeing it come to a vote and hopefully pass this evening. We don't want companies of any negative sort coming into our cities, our towns, and pulling one over on the taxpayers. At the end of the day, cost overruns, worker injuries and fatalities, these are not only costly to us as people, but furthermore, they're costly to the city. It increases liability for the city. From a compliance angle, this legislation will enable us as a third party, but also y'all as the city of Binghamton, to better regulate the public works construction going on here. If you get some, no-name shop coming in here who, oh, well, this is a brand new company, but, oh, they had an old company under a previous name and, oh, somebody died on one of their jobs. This is something that this process will help to identify, and now there is a proper procedure to make sure that these irresponsible vendors are not getting in here and pulling one over on the taxpayers, because at the end of the day, the taxpayers are footing the bill. Further, it's, very smart from a budgeting standpoint. It's very smart from a, in my opinion, an ethical standpoint, because we want a skilled, diligent, responsible workforce working on our roads, working on our buildings. We see news all the time, whether international or from less fortunate areas of this country, where we see construction fall apart. And sometimes it can cost the lives and livelihoods of everyday citizens. And at the end of the day, we need to ensure that the best of the building trades, skilled workforces are here to do the work. So again, this is common sense legislation. I applaud those council members who have sponsored this legislation, and I look forward to hopefully seeing it pass this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Welcome. And if there's anyone else who's planning to speak, please come down and take one of these 3 seats up in front.
Good evening, Tarek Abdelazam. I just rolled into town literally 5 minutes ago from a beach vacation with my son, so couldn't miss council. Good to see you all. Hope you had a wonderful, joyful holiday break. One, I do want to congratulate Councilman Dundon for putting forward this local bidder requirement ordinance. As you heard from the last 2 speakers, it's common sense legislation that supports both the taxpayers and our local businesses and workers. So thank you, because as I've said many times before, for too long, the city hall has basically favored a small group of, the power elite in this community, the wealthy developers. They design their policy, their grants, and their budgets around their needs at the neglect of everyone else in this community. And it's an inequitable approach. You can come to council as this a Democratic majority has with a lot of promises. But if you don't change policy and you don't reallocate resources, you're just sustaining the status quo. So thank you for showing us how that is done. I know some of you are also working on policy changes too, and I look forward to supporting and champion the work that you put forward. I know that there's an ordinance being considered, I believe it's second read, regarding the funds that are available because of vacant positions. If I read the legislation right, the total in salaries is just about $1 million, 980,000 or so. I understand you have to move that to the salary line because when they approved the budget last year, a different council, they agreed to a deficit of that line to ensure that they didn't have to increase taxes. So this basically balances and zeroes out that deficit, but it's an incomplete accounting of the vacancies. It doesn't include the benefits. It doesn't include workman's comp, social security, health insurance, or pension. And the health insurance and pension are significant. I would guarantee you that if you were to ask the administration for a full accounting of the savings of vacant positions to date and plan through the rest of the year, it would probably be another $500,000. I say that because I've also been coming here saying that every effort needs to be made to make more resources available to address our housing crisis. They should be at the front end, helping vulnerable tenants remain stably housed in healthy and safe housing. On the back end, dealing with vacant properties and repurposing them for affordable and preferably permanent affordable housing. There has been a Black-led housing organization in this community, the Southern Door Community Land Trust, that has been coming to the last city council and the last administration and this administration seeking resources to rehab a property that Broome County donated to them, a complete dog. It was a 6-unit rental property on Florence Street. When I was asked, should they take it? I said no, because this is going to require at least $1 million to rehab. And the county just wants to give it to you as an act of generosity when in fact you are helping them by taking on this piece of crap. Well, they have been asking for funds for over a year to help with this. They've received funds from the state. They've received funds from Community Foundation. They've received funds from Broome County. That donation came with $100,000, which helped deal with some initial prep work. The only player missing in supporting this organization and building the first permanent affordable housing units in this community with a strong focus on single Black women is the city of Binghamton. And that's appalling. When we have the housing crisis and we have the resources to address this, every time they have been diverted to other organizations, or as I've said before, as we saw with the Restore New York, the mayor submitted an application that was centered around Mark Yanady, a wealthy developer, trying to resolve a potential lawsuit of another wealthy developer. And what happened? That application failed. It wasn't even submitted. The city had one chance, one application to submit, and the city failed. And they have been asking for funds for over a year. So if you were to ask for a full accounting, health insurance, pension, social security, workman's comp, and secure another $500,000, those are funds that could finally go to support the first permanent affordable housing project in the city of Binghamton. I know that there's conversations that's happening with the Senator Webb, as well as Assemblywoman Donna Lupardo, trying to secure some funds. So cooperation might be able to get the funds necessary to rehab this property. I just also want to say that I know that there's some other policies. I have been sounding the alarm over our inequitable and unfair assessment system. 1 minute.
You have about 15 seconds. I apologize for the delay.
No problem. And I hope to see this council move forward on another very important policy change that will bring tax relief for homeowners, that will make sure the wealthiest property owners of downtown properties and student housing pay their fair share and really commits to fairness and equity in one of our most important foundational systems when it comes to housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. This is public comment. Yep. If there's anyone else that's planning to speak at public comment, please come on down. There's 3 spots in the front.
Good evening, council. I'm Josiah Sparcher. I'm the director of the Broome County Public Library. I wanted to primarily come speak to you because I haven't had the opportunity to meet most of you since your election. And if you don't yet know this, the city is the second largest funder of the library. Our history is that we were the Binghamton City Library prior to the bankruptcy of the city in the 70s and 80s, and the county assumed administration of the library at that point, but you are still our second biggest funder by a wide margin. So I'm passing around 3 things. One is our annual report from 2023. If it makes you feel good to see yourself acknowledged, if you look at the back page, you're all thanked on there by name. My business card is there. I wanted to extend an invitation to all of you to visit and tour and see all the programs that we have going, a couple of which I'm going to quickly highlight for you now. The first one that I wanted to feature is our peer support program, which there's a little card for, is the third thing I'm passing around to you. This is a program that we've been running for 2.5 years to serve people in the city struggling with housing, addiction, and mental health. It's a partnership with Catholic Charities. We have 2 certified peer support specialists in the library for a total of 39 hours a week. And as you probably know, one of our roles in this community, we serve many. We're, a traditional library in terms of providing books and your story time, and we are trying to do quite a few innovative programs for the community, which are listed in this report. But we are also a space that people who do not have permanent housing come to shelter during the day to get out of the elements and to get some safety. So this is a program that we set up specifically to provide some more services to those folks. And it's one that, we're very proud of the progress that we've made with this and are looking to continue to expand it. Our board president, some of you know Kate Miller Corcoran, who's our president of our board of directors right now, who works in the her paid daytime job is for the Rural Health Network, and she runs their food RX program. So they're giving away fresh produce with prescriptions mostly from nurses. And so we're working with them. We have a produce cooler in the library, and we are providing access to fresh local produce throughout the summer. It's right next to our circulation desk. There's no income limits or expectations with that. It's open to anyone who wants to come in and check out a book or a DVD and also grab some apples or some broccoli. We also have a period pantry and a diapered pantry. So the period pantry is a partnership with the Broome County Public Defender's Office to provide free period products, no questions asked and no limits. We just restock it as it gets used up. And we recently started doing the same with diapers in our children's section. Children and parents are one of our main groups of patrons, and that's something that we're looking to provide. So in general, we are trying to really innovate at the library, focus on services and programs and doing things differently than they've traditionally been done. We look to really everyone in the city as partners. So I would love to partner with any of you. And primarily, I would like the opportunity to show you what it is that we're doing. And lastly, there's been a somewhat implied implication in some of the coverage of the work that you all are doing on homelessness that perhaps the library is unfairly banning homeless patrons. So I did want to address that directly by saying that nobody is ever banned from our library based on their housing status. And in fact, we are directly providing programs targeted at that group of patrons. And we do occasionally have to ban patrons for the safety of our other patrons and staff when there are incidents. That's a process I'd be happy to go over with anyone who has concerns about that. Hopefully when you visit for a tour and I show you all of the wonderful work that we're doing and the excitement that's going on. So thank you all. And please feel free to reach out with questions or to tour the library and see what we're doing.
Thank you. Next up. Welcome back.
Hello, I'm Mary Ann Kretz. I'm here again for like the fourth time for the same subject. I'm a cross guard at the corner. This is my retirement job at the corner of South Washington and Vestal. And during my time that I'm working, which is about an hour and 15 minutes, 200 to 300 cars go through there, through that section there. It's very, very busy. And if I have to cross a person or a child, it's only 8 seconds to try to cross them. In the meantime, the cars coming on Vestal Ave still have a green light to go around the corner. Last school year, they said they were going to do a study on it. I don't know if there was a study on it. I didn't see anything being studied, but I nearly get hit at least once a week. And I'm not kidding you. Those cars come by. Some of them don't even slow down. They turn the corner and they keep going. And I think something has to be done with it, either signs or change the lights, something. Yesterday, I was going to church. I came back and there was a police cars all around it. There was a man laying in the street. It finally happened. Someone got hit on my corner. Put him on the stretcher and took him to the hospital. Girl had hit him, I guess. And it finally happened. Every day I go out to work, I have this fear of not returning because some of these cars go pretty fast. I'm thinking seriously of retiring this year, even though I like my job and that, but I don't know if I want to get killed on that corner. But something got to be done for the kids. I don't want anybody to get hit there. So please, please, somebody do something about that corner. Either put signs on or change the lights or something. They're supposed to do the study. Do it. I mean, this is high traffic time. 200 to 300 cars in an hour and 15 minutes. That's a lot of cars. So once more, I ask you to do this. I'm passing around a picture. This is also my corner of the sidewalk over there by the shopping center, which is very, very, very bad. People have trouble with their wheelchairs. They have trouble with their walking. And I have to watch every second that I'm crossing and doing that I don't fall and hit myself or something or get hit. So I'm sending a picture around. You can see it in the middle that they do some repair work. It's the middle picture there. It's very bad cement there. I called the city twice and they have not done anything with it. So it's another thing that needs to be taken care of that is not. I know it's a very busy corner and they would have a hard time doing it. I was up on Vestal Mill and they were fixing one corner. I actually showed them the other corners and they fixed all 4 corners up there. They redid all 4 corners. So I'm hoping to get this one corner done at least. And I will rest with it. Okay, I thank you for your time. Now, please, please, please try to do something about this before someone else gets hit. I didn't want anybody else to get hit, but the fact that the man did get hit there is showing that it happens. And it's not a good place. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Okay. All right. I'll ask the clerk if there's any comments to read into the record. And there are. Coming right back.
From Alfred Panicia Jr. Dear members of City Council, I'm following up on comments that I made on behalf of my client, Marchuska Productions LLC, at the June 26, 2024 public hearing regarding a resolution to amend the Binghamton Human Rights Law, City Charter, Chapter 45, to include unhoused status as a protected class. At the public hearing, my comments were limited to the proposed amendment to Section 45(5) of the Human Rights Law, which amendment purports to identify acts which would be unlawful if engaged in wholly or partially for a discriminatory reason. More specifically, my comments were limited to proposed new subsection D of that amendment. While my client does not take issue with the cause which the proposed legislation addresses, my client and I are concerned with how proposed subsection D fails to circumscribe the conduct in which the amendment deems to be unlawful. In a nutshell, the language is eminently ambiguous, providing no guidance to those whose duty it will be to comply with the law and who will be in legal jeopardy if they fail to so comply. As currently written, proposed subsection D would make it unlawful for a private or government entity to refuse to recognize an individual's reasonable expectation of privacy involving their personal property and place of residence, including but apparently not limited to unreasonable search, seizure, or displacement. Contrary to the opening phrase of the proposed amendment, subsection D does not describe an act or acts which may expose a person to legal jeopardy, but rather describes an outcome to be avoided, namely the impairment of an unhoused person's reasonable expectation of privacy. Such an unlawful outcome is difficult to objectively identify because the proposed legislation neither defines nor provides guidance in identifying the scope or boundaries of an individual's reasonable expectation of privacy. And because reasonable people can sincerely disagree with the scope of an individual's reasonable expectation of privacy, because proposed subsection D neither identifies specific unlawful acts nor allows for an objective determination of the bounds of a person's reasonable expectation of privacy, the proposed legislation will expose conscientious private entities who sincerely wish to comply with the law to unintended legal jeopardy, including judgments for attorney fees and court costs. As I mentioned at the public hearing with the law, as with sporting events, it is critical for the participants to know where out-of-bounds territory is located. The proposed language of subsection D makes it difficult, if not impossible, to know when foul territory is nearby. Given the nebulous language used to define discriminatory conduct, which the proposed amendment is intended to address, it is not surprising that people have come to disparate conclusions about the scope of the law. I am not aware of whether the language employed in the proposed subsection D has been used in other jurisdictions, and if so, what the experience of those jurisdictions has been. That information would be illuminating. My client and I ask that the proposed language be vetted so as to avoid unintended consequences. In sum, my client and I are not suggesting that the proposed legislation be scrapped. Our hope is that the legislation be made better. Next, from Marianne Callahan. Dear council members, the First Ward Neighborhood Watch is a gathering of residents who meet regularly to discuss concerns and issues that affect us and the quality of life in our district. One of the recurring issues discussed at our meetings is the homeless encampment near First Ward Park, as well as individual homeless sites near places of business. The members of our group are not unsympathetic to the plight of those who find themselves without permanent residences and are concerned that all relevant services be provided for them. However, we are concerned about RL 2491, the recent proposal to make the homeless a protected status. It is our understanding that this status would make it more difficult for law enforcement to deal effectively with such homeless encampments, such as the one near the First Ward Park and the individual campsites found on our neighborhoods. Further, such status granted to this category of our citizenry seems to be an additional and unwarranted level of protection that now exists in current law. Additionally, protected status does not begin to solve the problem of homelessness. Instead, it only adds one more layer of complexity to an already complex issue. We feel that a more effective and productive approach to the issue would be for council to work with the administration to focus how to leverage available funding to actually provide housing and other services to this population. We would respectfully ask that instead of creating an unnecessary status for those who have no homes, we work together as a community to find real solutions that would provide those homes. On behalf of the First Ward Neighborhood Watch, Marianne Callahan. Then from Matthew Curie, resident of the city of Binghamton. Dear members of the Binghamton City Council, the matter I wish to discuss pertains to the accessibility of the facilities at Binghamton West Middle School. Currently, the gates around the field and track are closed and locked daily, preventing public access. As taxpayers, we contribute to the funding of public schools, and we believe that these facilities should be available for use by the community, including the children in our neighborhood. My request is for the Binghamton City Council to put pressure on the school district to unlock the gates, allowing the public to utilize these spaces for recreation and physical activity. This would greatly benefit the well-being of our community and provide a safe environment for our children to play. I appreciate your attention to this matter and look forward to discussing it further at the meeting tonight. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Yeah. Good catch, Councilman Hotchkiss. We do have one more. It was submitted, but it was not read at the special business meeting because of the rules relating to comments only being for business of the special business meeting. So this is an early submission.
So this comment was submitted on June 27th. Dear City Council members, I hope this message finds you well. I would first like to request that this email be read into the record regarding my concerns for RL 2491. I will begin by saying that I have tremendous sympathy and compassion for individuals that are homeless and for people who are both homeless and suffer from mental health issues. I always make an effort to offer help when I can, whether it be by purchasing one food or offering a few dollars. I understand that they too are humans and deserve to be treated with dignity. However, in my option, this is a much bigger problem for any of us to resolve. I don't think the answer is allowing homeless people to set up encampments in our parks, sidewalks, school grounds, public or private properties. Countless people have invested into our community to enhance it, whether investing in a business or property to make it a wonderful place to live and visit. U.S. City Council members were elected to provide a service to the city of Binghamton taxpayers. In essence, you are our voice. We look to you to not only keep our city safe, but to maintain a place where people want to move, invest, and open a business. I strongly feel that the wrong reaction with one feeling the need to defend themselves may end up in some form of violence, which none of us want. I think that this puts a tremendous amount of exposure for liability on the city of Binghamton. Unfortunately, the perception of homeless people, whether they simply may be down on their luck or there may be a level of mental health issues, is that it makes the general public feel uncomfortable and unsafe. I can tell you firsthand that it is more common for them to leave garbage, human fecal matter, and urine in places that they set up camp. I think as city council members, it is your duty to protect the city and make the best decisions possible to ensure everyone is safe. That does not mean that your efforts should not be to help fight the issue of homelessness. Perhaps the answer is finding a facility, maybe even owned by the city of county, that can be transformed into a shelter providing cots, showers, and a soup kitchen. I am happy to discuss some ideas with you. However, I do not think the answer is a disruption to the residents and business owners of our city. I respectfully ask that you vote against this resolution. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Okay. With that, thank you to everyone who spoke tonight. And we are now going to move on to second read legislation. We'll start with local law LL 24-03, considered in public works. Councilman Dundon.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to introduce local law, excuse me, 24-03, where it's repealing and replacing the lowest responsible bidder requirements.
Second.
Motioned by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilman Hotchkiss. Discussion.
I mean, the only thing I would like to add in, we had two great speakers on it, is this is common sense legislation. And even in the public comments regarding on house status, all everyone keeps talking about is building affordable housing. Well, anybody in the trade ever seen affordable housing built? Anytime a contractor comes in from out of the area, they instantly hit all their employees as 1099 subcontractors. And there's no way to classify what the workers are doing. And that's going to be something that we're going to run into. And that's where this law will be nice to be able to prevent a lot of that from happening and making sure we don't have shoddy contractors come in from out of the area and do shoddy work or cost overruns. I mean, the sewage treatment plant was originally supposed to be 90 million and it ended up being 365 million.
Anyone else? Councilman Hotchkiss.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the work that Councilman Dundon has put into getting this together and pushing it forward. I think this is going to be a huge win for local taxpayers, local workers, and consequentially our local economy. And it's something that I never would have really considered. And I just appreciate his insights into this and improving our system here in Binghamton to help out our residents. So thank you. I look forward to supporting this.
Anyone else?
I'll go.
Councilwoman Middleton.
I wanted to thank Mike. I think Mike is very dedicated. Councilmember Dundon, excuse me. He's dedicated to our city, to the people, the taxpayers, and this is actually the reason why we were all elected to represent the needs of our city. When I was knocking on doors, a lot of the people, I live in the district that has Rec Park in it, and a lot of people were upset because at the time when I was canvassing, the courts weren't complete and they've had so many issues on it. But with you know, a law like this will actually protect the city from, you know, things like that happening again. So thank you so much, Mike, for bringing this amazing legislation to all of us. It's a big win for the city and the taxpayer. Thank you very much. And I'm happy to support this. Thank you. No
Anyone,
problem.
anyone else? All right, I guess, I think there's some good energy for this vote. So let's roll with it here. The clerk may call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Absolutely.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
Great.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Great. The local law passes. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Next, we have introductory ordinance 024-35 considered in planning. Councilman Hotchkiss.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt introductory ordinance 024-35. This is an ordinance authorizing the sale of 41 Clinton Street to Trout Brook Housing Development Fund Corporation.
Council President, I have a point of order real quick. I'd like to make an amendment. In the actual legislation, it still says First Ward Action Council, so that language needs to be changed to the state Trout Brook.
Good catch.
I second.
Seconded. Okay, so we have a we got to back it up. So we had a motion, but not a second to move to introduce.
What? You have to make the amendment to clear up the language before you can make the motion and second it?
No, because then we'd go into discussion and then amend it.
Okay. I'll second it then.
Okay. It's motioned by Councilman Hotchkiss, seconded by Councilman Dundon, moving into discussion. And now we're turning back to your point about the legislation needing to be updated. So a motion to amend it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we have
second.
motion to amend by Councilman Dundon. We have a second from Councilman Porter. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend? Councilman Hotchkiss.
Just for those who are watching, this is still the First Ward Action Council. It's not a different developer. It's just a different legal entity that they're using for this part of this project. So.
Yes. And Trout Brook is the name of, I guess, the stream. It has something to do with the history of the geography of the First Ward. Any further discussion on that? Okay, the clerk can call the roll on the amendment.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
Okay, great. We have now amended it. So now we're discussing it as amended. Any further comments? Okay, with that, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
The ordinance passes. Next, we have introductory ordinance 024-47 considered in finance. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
I'd like to motion to pass introductory ordinance 02447, an ordinance to modify the 2024 general fund budget to account for vacancies in the amount of $982,833.56.
I'll second.
Okay, motioned by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion.
Yeah, the only thing.
Councilman Dundon.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to add into is looking at these different positions, I'd have to say, Tarek made a very good point. some of the painters, some of the CSEA, the Teamsters and the police, their fringe benefits obviously would be an extra addition. Plus, disability insurance, unemployment insurance, workman's comp insurance on top of the salaries. So I am kind of curious to know now what the total savings would be minus just what the in-check salary is.
Any further discussion? No? Okay. Clerk can call a roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Nay.
Councilmember Middleton, Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 5-2.
Okay, the ordinance passes. Next, we have introductory resolution, R 24-45, considered in rules and procedures. Councilman Hotchkiss.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to adopt introductory resolution R 24-45. This is a resolution demanding that the mayor enact the Attorney General's recommendations regarding the January 1st, 2023 incident.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Motioned by Councilman Hotchkiss, seconded by Councilman Porter. Discussion. And Hotchkiss.
Yeah. We've had a lot of time to review this, and I am still, think we should still compel the mayor to take action on the recommendations following that investigation. And I hope you guys can support this resolution.
Councilman Costi.
Yeah, we've all received legal advice from counsel, corporation counsel and outside counsel on this. This is an active court case and this could be a liability to the city. So I'd like to make the motion to send this back to committee for reconsider. I would hate to see this hurt the court case in any way. And I would rather not vote for something that could potentially sway a jury one way or another. I think it's responsible of us to let justice prevail.
Corporation Counsel has said that we can consider a motion to send it back to committee, even though it is second read legislation.
Okay.
So there's a motion by Councilman Costi,
I'll second the motion.
seconded by Councilman Dundon. All right,
Go for a
a
vote.
discussion on whether we want to send it to committee,
That's pretty much, I thought, for a discussion.
on sending it to
or-
committee.
I'm
I don't think it needs to be sent to committee, but
Oh, you want to, is your mic on? Okay. Councilman Porter.
on. I don't feel that it should be sent back to committee. I just feel that this is something important that we do need to vote on. I feel that what the mayor has done by saying that there is nothing wrong. That's what it sounds like when he says that the AG is biased. I find it quite like a more of a dog whistle. There's obviously something wrong. And this has been an ongoing issue among the police department. And somebody's recommendation is saying something to fix and mentioning something to fix. And if you don't plan on fixing it, you continue to be complicit. So I don't want to be complicit. And I feel that this is important. Obviously, what we have is certain people in the administration, but or these in the police department don't feel that they want to fix it. And there should be things that be in place to help create more reform, maybe even background checks on some of the people that we claim to be safety, to be creating safety for us, but really in turn, they're really about being safety of property. So I think there's some things that need to be changed. And going back to committee is just I'm sorry, a cop out.
The only comment I'm gonna make.
Councilman Dundon.
The only comment I'm gonna make to this, and because it is still the trial's being pushed out and stuff, I always like to sit back and see how a judge is gonna do anything. Is even, we can't force the mayor to do anything, and if I remember this correctly, all he has to do, I mean, he's not gonna remove the officer. All he's gonna do is give him desk duty for 30 days and moving on. So I'd like to see how the court case plays out before, I mean, putting the mayor's feet to the fire hasn't worked for us yet and anything else. I mean, the executive has more power in the city government than the legislative branch.
Any further discussion? Before we vote on whether or not we
I
send it
just
back to
feel-
committee?
I just feel standing on business. I just feel that it shows a show of force of, or at least a show of a better idea of how police reform should be. And yeah, holding the mayor's feet to the fire. I'm sorry, just due to certain things of how the mayor moves into whatever party it is part of, seems more authoritarian than anything else, and I'm all about not being ruled by authoritarians.
I just want to.
Councilman Middleton.
Oh, thank you. I understand like kind of both sides of it. I do understand that we do need to do something about this situation and things in general. I also agree with Mike. I don't think this at this moment will do anything. We know that they do have more power than us, but I think maybe waiting to see how the trial plays out, we can definitely it'll make it, how can I say, it'll put more pressure. Sorry, it'll put more pressure on him. I'm not sure if that is, but I do agree with both sides of it.
I understand. I just know that the legal system hasn't been working so far.
Correct.
Shoot, we all have now been witness to what the Supreme Court has now made sure that our legal system has not been working.
Correct.
So based on the fact that if our legal system hasn't been working, I don't have the trust in our legal system nor the law enforcement that has been in place. So there's something needs to be done while we try to take a stand either way.
Anyone else interested in
Yeah, yeah.
Councilman Hotchkiss?
Sure. I got two quick things to add. I don't really buy the argument that we don't have power in this situation. We do have power to pass this resolution, to demonstrate our position on the matter. And I think, saying that because the mayor has ultimate power over that situation, I think that's a cop out. Secondly, the trial doesn't have anything to do with, it's the same incident, but it doesn't have anything to do with the recommendations that came through the investigation. So I'm not having the investigation already published. I don't see how that would influence the court case.
And to my understanding,
Councilman Porter.
the trial is on the victim. Am I correct?
Yeah. It's him.
Yeah.
It's a criminal.
Yeah.
against him.
Against the victim at the moment. Yeah. I still feel going back to committee is quite BS, but y'all do what y'all got to do.
Okay. I guess I'll share some thoughts. I think it's possible to address police reform without directly jumping into something that has ongoing legal implications. So I think that there's I think there's a workable place that we can get.
How?
I mean, us.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying like
Okay.
on some legislation relating to this. And I guess I think there is will is what I'm hearing. um, to do some sort of police reform, encouragement of improvements. We've, we've not just in this, but in other areas, we've previously discussed our desire for 5-year plans more generally relating to finance and other departments, and improvement plans, which are mentioned in this legislation is something that I think there might be a good place to go with. So
So
I'm
just,
just,
just
throwing
really quick, I was just thinking,
Councilwoman Middleton.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking about something. Go ahead. Did you want to? Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
this just in that we're gonna take, well, first, I'll be looking for a motion for a recess
I'll
while
make
we
the
look
motion.
into the legality of whether or not it can go back to committee.
Okay. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Middleton,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilman Dundon. How many minutes? Sorry. We're
10.
fine. 10-minute recess proposed. Can I get a resecond?
Second.
Reseconded by Councilman Dundon. We're taking a 10-minute recess. Thank you. Favor? Any opposed? No.
Nay.
Okay.
6-1.
We'll come back in from our recess and I'll hand things over to Councilman Hotchkiss. We've got more information from Corporation Council.
So seeing that there are two council members that have sponsored or signed out this legislation that are committee members, it cannot be referred back to committee.
Thank you. So we will not be referring it back to committee, and we will not have to take a vote on that. So going back to our discussion of the legislation in general. Okay, Councilman Dundon.
So I'd like to go back to my comment I made originally about this. Looking this over more thoroughly, this probably has nothing to do with the trial and will have no effect towards the trial. So I believe I misspoke, and I would like to make that correction on the record. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Anyone else? Councilman Kavanaugh.
So since we don't have the option to just send this back to committee for now, I think city council should absolutely be weighing in on this. But I also think we're in the middle of a process, and the administration has not had their full time to make a public response, which I understand they intend to do. So I think before we respond, we need that side of the story as well. And without that sort of information response, I don't know that I feel comfortable just blanketly going with the text of this resolution where it's, demanding adoption for the entire Attorney General's report. So I think we should act. I think we plan on acting. I just don't think it's time yet, although I appreciate why Councilman Hotchkiss wants to keep this, I think, alive and issue of the moment. So there is certainly some merit in doing it this way. But that's I land on waiting till the administration has had a chance to respond to the report.
Any further discussion? Councilman Porter.
Well, I thought his response when the recommendation did come out.
He is in I think, was it 90 days or 90 days to respond? And
The
my
90 days.
understanding is there is an intent to respond.
Oh, there is. I tend to, okay. I feel beg to differ, but okay.
Any further discussion? So, Councilman Hotchkiss.
So I think it's worth reiterating that this particular subsection of the Attorney General's office does not handle very many cases, and it takes a good deal of advocacy for them to begin an investigation. And I think there was a tremendous amount of advocacy to have this looked at by our community. So I again would reiterate that we follow through with the recommendations, because that's follow through with the recommendations of any third party, because that's what our community was asking for. So I still feel that we should compel the mayor to do that.
Any further discussion?
Um. I want to read a quote.
Okay, Councilman Border?
Uh, never mind. Thank you.
Okay. So, Councilman Dundon brought up, the court case, which I believe is now it's September 30th, non-jury trial on September 30th. Is not, in some ways, this is not really directly related to this, potential lawsuits that come after that we will have to vote on if there is a settlement or some sort of anything like that. If any of those things are to happen, that, we're the same body that would be dealing with that. So there are well, I mean, it's public information if we vote on this tonight, obviously. Right, so this would be a vote on the record while if negotiations happen. Yep. Throwing that out there. Is there anyone else that would like to raise any other points before we go to a vote? Okay, with that, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Hey,
No, we're voting.
oh,
We're voting.
oh,
We're voting on.
what are we voting on? Well, I thought we were voting on the
There's no holdover. This is the vote
So just to clarify, we're voting on the resolution that you brought forward.
that Nate brought about the bed.
Right.
You and Nate
Oh,
put forward, you, Councilman Porter and Councilman
Uh,
Hotchkiss
thought about something.
put
within-
forward
Okay.
a resolution and we
So,
are voting on that resolution.
so there's a yay.
He just voted on the record, no.
I think it was clear that there
No,
was
oh, then-
confusion over the committee issue.
Then if
I
that's the
think it's
case,
pretty clear that we were voting on the
Wow.
resolution.
Wow. Well, I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, no,
No.
no.
He
let it
announced it
stand.
when we came back from
Let it
recess.
stand.
Yeah, but I don't
Let it
think,
stand.
no, I honestly, no,
Okay,
I.
whoa,
no,
whoa, whoa, hey,
no,
hey,
no.
guys, we're in the
No,
midst
no,
of
no, no,
voting.
no, no,
We're in the
no.
midst of voting.
Point
No, I understand
of
that.
order, point of order.
Point of order. I'm sorry, I'm gonna speak. Point of order. I don't think he honestly fully understood that we were going for that vote at the moment. I don't think he did.
Yeah.
It wasn't an
So
out.
we're gonna back up here.
One-
We're just gonna make
Thank you.
sure that it's clear. There is a motion and a second for us to vote on the resolution. Okay? Are we all clear on what we're voting on? All right.
Yes,
Oh,
So now
there's a
the clerk
motion.
can call the roll.
go ahead.
Are
Oh, you want more?
anybody made the motion?
We are voting,
We're
right?
voting.
Okay, so we are voting on.
Okay, wait. Okay, yeah.
the motion was originally made by Councilmember Hotchkiss and then seconded by Councilmember Porter. There was discussion in the meantime, but we have now come to a roll call vote as called by the president.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Great. Councilmember Porter,
yay.
Councilmember Middleton,
Yay.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Nay.
Councilmember Dundon,
Nay.
Councilmember Costi,
No.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
I'm gonna say nay.
Wow.
All right, so the resolution does not pass. Next, we have introductory resolution 24-47 considered in Public Works and Parks. Councilman Dundon.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 24-47. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Whittam Planning Design Landscape Architecture P LLC not to exceed $18,880.
I'll second.
Motioned by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion.
I think
Councilman Kavanaugh.
sorry, I think I had some of the questions about this when it initially came up. But I've been persuaded of the need for a new master plan for Columbus Park, given the relocation of the rec center and such. So we do need a new one to continue improving.
Any further discussion? Councilman Hotchkiss.
Yeah, I think I just appreciate having the ability to be involved in some of the planning or initiating planning around parks. Because I don't think that's something that's been extended to us. That's all.
Any further discussion? Okay, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Yay.
Councilmember Middleton. Aye. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
Great. The resolution passes. Now we move on to first reading legislation. We have introductory ordinance 024-54, considered an employees. Councilmember Porter.
It's an introductory ordinance on 2454. An ordinance to amend the 2024 Binghamton and Johnson City Joint Sewage Treatment Facilities budget to transfer funds from additional operator and trainee position.
There was a motion to do that?
Have to make a motion.
Second, okay, motioned by Councilman Porter, seconded by Councilman Middleton. Discussion. All right, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Yay.
Councilmember Middleton. Aye. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky. Thank you. That's 7-0.
The ordinance passes. Next, we have introductory ordinance 024-55, considered in finance. Councilman Kavanaugh.
Yes. I'd like to pass a motion to pass introductory ordinance 024-55. An ordinance
Is
to
there-
amend
Sorry.
the 2024 Binghamton Johnson City Joint Sewage Treatment Facilities budget to accept a Comp Alliance Safe Workplace Award and increase the travel and training line.
I'll make the second.
Okay, motioned by Councilman Kavanaugh, seconded by Councilman Dundon. Discussion. All right, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Yay.
Councilmember Middleton. Aye. Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
The ordinance passes. Next, we have introductory ordinance 024-56, considered in rules and procedures. Councilman Hotchkiss.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt introductory ordinance 024-56. This is an ordinance to allow the CCE chair to appoint city residents to committees.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motioned by Councilman Hotchkiss, seconded by Councilman Middleton. Discussion.
Sure.
And Hotchkiss.
Yeah, so I think maybe a couple of people missed this presentation, but the Commission for the Conservation of the Environment is building out a lot of different subcommittees with some of our appointed members, but they are trying to continue to involve more members of the public that are interested in these topics, and they want a formal way to appoint them to the subcommittees, whether it's working on the blue bags or what to do with vacant lots. So I think this is a good way to continue to engage the public with the city matters and have a positive impact in our community.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilman Kavanaugh.
I think this might be a good model. We have a lot of valuable insight in the community, and but often the full membership on one of the boards or commissions the city has might be too big of an ask for somebody. Or somebody might have more focused knowledge to contribute. So I think coming up with this new methodology to involve more people in a somewhat official way could be a good resource going forward.
Any further discussion? All right, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
The ordinance passes. Next, we have introductory ordinance 024-57, considered in employees. Councilman Porter.
I'd like to make a motion for introductory ordinance 2457. It's an ordinance to amend the 2024 park budget to fund the acting commissioner of Parks and Recreation position.
That was a motion. Is there a
I'll-
second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Councilman Porter, seconded by Councilman Dundon. Discussion. Anything?
Discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
If there's no Councilman Hotchkiss.
I think there's a few different positions in the city where we have acting commissioners of different departments, and I think it would be prudent to formally appoint an actual commissioner, whether it's Parks or DPW. So
Thank you. Any further discussion? With that, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
Right, the ordinance passes. Next, we have introductory resolution R24-54, considered in Public Works and Parks. Councilmember Dundon.
No, you mean, 2458.
Oh, sorry about that. Next, we have introductory ordinance 024-58, considered in employees. Councilman Porter.
I'd like to make a motion on 2458. It's an ordinance to amend the 2024 police budget to fund the senior clerk position.
Second.
Motioned by Councilman Porter, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion. Councilman Kavanaugh.
I'm sorry. This was introduced while I was away at the work session. Did they explain what happened to the program assistant position they're moving this from, or was just vacant?
Councilman Hotchkiss.
if you recall what happened in, I think it was the engineering department, this was actually a civil
Similar
service
situation.
thing, so they're switching the position and the salary to kind of do that little loophole again.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Councilman Hotchkiss.
Yeah, so I think it's been mentioned a number of times that the civil service exam is a barrier, and I think we all acknowledge that it would take a huge act to change that whole institution. However, I think it would be reasonable that maybe our personnel department have some preparatory work for civil service exams for employees that are taking them. I think that's a reasonable thing to get support for employees that have this examination, and then we can avoid doing these position changes that, I mean, they shouldn't really be happening this way. I don't think that's the intention. So that's all.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilman Porter.
As just to follow Nate, because I'm in agreement that it has been quite a big issue within the city hall with dealing with all different positions. This is not the first one. There have been other positions that people have been demoted from a position that they have done and over a period of long years, and even saving millions of dollars within the city. And to have this barrier being the thing that stops that person from doing to being in a position that they can be qualified for is quite atrocious to me. So this is just something following up on what Councilman Hotchkiss was saying.
Any further discussion? Okay, with that, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Nay.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 6-1.
The ordinance passes. Next, we have introductory resolution R 24-54, considered in Public Works and Parks. Councilman Dundon.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution R 24-54 to authorize a supplemental agreement number 4 with Barton Legitis for the Deco District Streetscapes Improvements Project.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion.
I do have a,
Councilman Porter.
where was exactly with the streetscapes where they were planning on,
Oh, it's, I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Washington Henry Lewis.
I just wanted to be reminded where that was at.
Any further, Councilman Hotchkiss?
Yeah, I think probably Water Street is included in that. I remember the city engineer saying they wanted to extend it towards where the new parking ramp is to include that. And I think that might be the reason for the need for the supplemental agreement.
Councilman Porter.
So are there planning on changing certain things? They plan on changing certain things at on Water Street itself, right?
Well, the supplemental agreement exceed $47,800, and from the look of the legislation, it's just going to include and providing utility coordination.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's all I want to know. Thank you.
Okay. All right, with that, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Hi.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
The resolution passes. Next, we have introductory resolution R 24-55, considered in Public Works and Parks. Councilman Dundon.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion on resolution 24-55. It's a resolution to authorize an agreement with Barton and Legitis for the Ball Avenue outfall.
I'll
second.
second.
Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilman Middleton. Discussion. All right, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
The resolution passes. Next, we have introductory resolution R 24-56, considered in Public Works and Parks. Councilman Dundon.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion on resolution R 24-56. It's a resolution to authorize an agreement with Hunt Engineers for the Tompkins Street Pump Station.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion. All right, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
Next, we the resolution passes. Next, we have introductory resolution R 24-57, considered in Public Works and Parks. Councilman Dundon.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion on resolution R 24-57. It's a resolution to authorize an agreement with EDR for a terminal pumping station.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilwoman Middleton. Discussion. All right. Councilman Hotchkiss.
No, the sooner that we can get this, the better. I think we spent a lot of time talking about the TPS system, and it'll be a really good upgrade for our sewer infrastructure.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, clerk can take a roll.
Councilmember Porter.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
All right, the Resolution passes. Next, we have introductory resolution R 24-58, considered municipal and public affairs. Councilman Middleton.
I'd like to make a motion for a resolution 24-58 to authorize an agreement with BOCES for the fire prevention.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilwoman Middleton, seconded by Councilman Dundon. Discussion. All right. Clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
The resolution passes. Next, we have introductory resolution R 24-59, considered in municipal and public affairs. Councilman Middleton.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 24-59. It's authorizing New York State law enforcement technology grant.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilwoman Middleton, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion.
Yeah, the only comment I want to make on the record.
Redundant.
The only comment I want to make on the record is this states that it can be used for new technology and equipment to prevent and solve crimes or improve public safety. With the noise ordinance coming up, this seems like the perfect grant to utilize some money for a decimator. That's all I have to say.
The question is, but even if there was a decimator, I don't even know if they would put it towards that. I think, in my opinion, put it towards more other cameras.
Well, no, did you?
Well, so it's just only, wait a minute, is this the
this
give,
one?
the give the gun initiation,
No, that's next.
okay.
This one is, they can use it on lighting and, it's different. Hold on. I know exactly.
There's
what
a
it is.
specific list of things that they
Things
can
List-
purchase.
list-
Yeah.
Yeah, the other list of things.
When he came on, he didn't say anything about cameras. He
Cameras.
said they wanted to get like a new system.
System, yeah.
Can you, Councilwoman Middleton, do you want to share into the mic? Oh, okay.
I think what,
Councilman Costi.
at the work session, he said they were gonna use it for their, the mobile command system.
Mobile, the
Good.
mobile command system, okay. That,
you repeat that?
basically
It
for
was-
the
The
crime
mobile
analysis.
command system.
Mobile command
This is
system.
the crime analysis unit, itself.
In terms of the list, I have the list here of types of expenditures. It says you may use the funds on any previously approved item within your application or in any of the following items: surveillance cameras, mobile or fixed, license plate readers, mobile or fixed, acoustic gunshot detection systems, unmanned aerial vehicles, also known as drones, 3D crime scene laser scanner, scanners, readers, radios, software applications, development and deployment, patrol vehicle equipment, parentheses, PC, tablet, scanners, printers, etc., body worn equipment and lighting systems.
Yeah, so that goes back to my whole point, surveillance.
Oh,
cameras.
let's see, was there more on this? No, funds may not be used to support the following purchases or expenses: firearms or conductive energy devices, example, tasers or stingers. So it may not be
I mean, it's a long list of those things that they can put in, but I'm just saying that it's not the, surveillance cameras is not the only, is possible that it can be used for that. That's what I've just got finished here.
No, but during the work session, he stated exactly they were gonna use it for. Mike was just saying that they probably use it for the noise ordinance bill that came on Monday's work session. But when he came down, I think it was not this Monday, but the Monday before last, we asked him exactly what he was going to use it for, and cameras wasn't in that. He said that they had other things that they wanted to use it for, and cameras wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't trust. So I just feel that, one person can say one thing and do another. And it's not the first time they've done that, so.
Any further discussion? Councilman Hotchkiss.
Yep. I think many of us took a lot of time thinking and reflecting about the surveillance camera and some of the issues that were raised around that, and it's made me reevaluate how we are approaching public safety. And I think realistically, one of my conversations I had with a constituent was this area used to be safer 40 years ago, and I think the cameras would make this safer, but it wasn't the cameras 40 years ago. They were never there that made that neighborhood safe. It was just the conditions of the community and the economy, and that there was probably less poverty then. So I think it's worth reiterating the one statistic that says that if you invest, for every dollar you invest in youth services, it's worth 11 that is spent in policing and incarceration. I think it would be a better investment if we were allowed to utilize some of this funding to go towards youth services and youth programming to really try to steer our youth in the right direction, rather than criminalizing them potentially and incarcerating them and then having to just fund that whole system. Further, I think there's one other point I wanted to make. It's escaping me right now. Oh, right. There was just this year, there was two different articles that came out that Binghamton has its lowest crime in 15 years. One of those, the mayor was quoted about investing in technology, and the other one, the captain's name is escaping me, but he said it's attributed to community policing. So I think we have some different conflicting sources, and it's like, why are we spending this much money on law enforcement when we're at a all-time or a relatively low crime rate for the city? And I think that is consistent with the state of New York. I think we're pretty low crime rate, but we're spending a lot of money on law enforcement. So I'm going to vote against this because I think ultimately it's I think the way that we're doing public safety is a little bit backwards right now.
Anyone else? Councilman Porter.
Yes. What I feel is that yes, because all those lists is one of those things, and again, they can say one thing and do another. I just feel if you're with that technology, why not take some of that money to also put in all the other high crime areas that he mentioned also at that work session. That was one way of me compromising in a sense of doing it, not just one area and being that one target area due to how the situation, what they feel the situation is. That also, this leads me to a quote. Now that I do have a quote for what the thinking person must oppose all cruel customs, no matter how deeply rooted in tradition and surrounded by a halo. When we have a choice, we must avoid bringing torment and injury into the life of another. Albert Schweitzer. So.
Any further discussion? Councilman Costi.
Nate, just to your point, the council president listed every thing this money can be spent on. It is a grant. I mean, I'm all for spending money on youth. It is grant money, though. We can't just take money from New York State that's for a specific thing for the police department and give it to a different entity. That's just not how grants work.
I'm fully aware of how grants work and the constraints around them. However, I wish the state, I think this is part of a $127 million package from the governor's office. She could choose to put out that grant funding however that she wanted.
Sure, but to not accept this money is just asinine. We'd be the only municipality in the state of New York not to take $400,000 for our community. It's just crazy to think about.
Because God's spoken against you.
Councilman Porter.
Yes, it's their grant money that is coming into the community, but what Nate is suggesting is instead of a militarized force that we already getting pushed into authoritarianism already. Maybe to think something else, to think a different way. And so I'm in agreement with Nate on trying to figure out a way to solve the issue of with youth and poverty in such a way to help create a better community than to just lock them up like in a internment camp that's coming in the near future.
I'm not quite sure.
Councilman Costi.
Not quite sure I see the correlation
course you don't.
between an internment camp and the police department. That makes absolutely no sense.
It does, but it does.
It's
If you
important.
actually, it does if you actually do some research on how police are and how militarized they are, and how this technology can be another form of way of taking away civil liberties. But okay,
I'm not going to continue this conversation. I support our police department and the justice system. I'll leave it with that. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? Final comments? I guess up.
I just wanted to say something.
Councilwoman Middleton.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I just have to say something.
sorry.
Oh, well, oh, I'm not sorry.
Say what you got to say.
But,
Say what you got.
I will say that, I always understand all sides of it. I just feel like, Mike, you saying that it's asinine is kind of like, ignoring why certain people might feel a certain type of way. I mean, you're a white male, so you have so much privilege, so you wouldn't understand why people think a certain way, but they do. And if anyone thinks differently, it is okay to learn and accept that.
Any further discussion?
Um,
Councilman Porter.
not to take away from what you're saying. It is important and differences. I accept his understanding, but I understand, I accept his feeling about what he feels, but I also know I'm seeing things that are moving in such a way that is not, we're moving away from democracy. So I'm looking at, I want to save my democracy. So that's how I'm looking at it. I want to save my democracy. I want to save the people. And I'm not taking away from what you're saying,
Mhm.
because we can all have a disagreement, and that's what makes a democracy.
No,
That
I,
makes a
no,
democracy.
I understand that. What I'm saying is that
Councilwoman Middleton.
no, what I'm saying is that like, I understand every single angle and I understand everybody's differences, but I do think people need to accept that we are all elected officials. We all have different perspectives on every single issue that comes through. I just feel like it's not okay to bash how someone believes. Like, I agree with the police department. I support the police. I will not bash you because you don't support it. And I just feel like everyone, even if you don't agree with someone, you should still understand how they feel, or you should understand why they may feel what they feel. And, that's just a privilege. If you don't understand, or that's your privilege. But that's just my comment.
All right. With that, I will have the clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Porter. Councilmember,
Did you hear me? I
Yeah.
said nay. Okay.
Councilmember Middleton.
Hi.
Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon.
Aye.
Councilmember Costi.
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Nay.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 5-2.
The resolution passes. Next, we have introductory resolution R 24-59, considered municipal and public affairs. Councilwoman Middleton.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 24-59. It's a resolution authorizing the New York State law enforcement. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. 2460, I'm sorry. It's
24.
authorizing, and the New York State give grant.
I'll second.
Motioned by Councilwoman Middleton, seconded by Councilman Costi. Discussion. Anyone want to add anything on this one? Councilman Hotchkiss.
Pretty much the same as the last one. I think the appropriate approach is to prevent shootings and not prosecute them and after they've already happened. I think the harm is already done if there's a shooting that occurred. I think the goal should be to prevent them. So I think, honestly, I think this segues really well into the next resolution that we're looking at in funding youth services. And I wish that it's going to take a lot. It's going to be a big lift to provide programming and staff for the next thing. And I think you all know where I kind of stand on this, but the youth services should be a higher priority for the state and the city.
Anyone else? Councilman Porter.
When looking at this resolution and when Captain Bidwell presented this, I thought about the prevention that would be great for shootings or gunshots within areas that would be very helpful with the equipment they would be able to have. Because I feel this was more succinct related to the topic of what that is, what the grant was given for. To me, it makes more sense because this is what the grant is given for, that, well, at least gun prevention and gun dealing with firearm related violence and crime. So with that, I just compared to the other legislation in which was a gambit of things, I'm more comfortable with this as for what it stands because it's more succinct to the money. But then at the same time, again, people tend to say one thing and do another. So that's my comfortability in dealing with the public safety for this resolution.
Anyone else? I guess I feel like that we're talking between this resolution and the previous resolution about a substantial amount of money. One of these, I looked at the different cities and how much they got within, and Binghamton's bringing in quite a bit through these. So I would like to express gratitude to our state reps for making that happen. I'm sure they were involved in many negotiations to get these grants and the money budgeted for our community. So anyone else? With that, clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Aye. Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Nay.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 6-1.
All right, the resolution passes. All right. Next, we have introductory resolution R24-61, considered in Public Works and Parks. Councilman Dundon.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion on resolution R24-61. It's a resolution authorizing a contract to purchase St. Mary's Rec Center.
I make a second motion.
Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by Councilman Porter. Discussion.
Yeah, me, Council President Matavetsky and Councilman Hotchkiss did a tour of the facility today. I've been in construction for 16 years of my life, and for the price that we're honestly getting this building for is a steal. I mean, the building looks phenomenal. I climbed all up through the attic, checking the HVAC system. I didn't even follow the tour half the time. I did my own thing, but that building is in really immaculate shape for what we're getting. If we were going to try to build a building with a parking lot of that size, you're talking upwards of 11 to 15 million.
All right. Any further discussion? Councilman Hotchkiss.
Yeah, I think I appreciate being able to go on a tour before seeing it. It's not an insignificant amount of money or an undertaking to start this youth center that the city has never had. I think it's a really good turning point. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing everything that can develop there and in that neighborhood. I hope that we can all be involved in the future planning and seeing what can happen with youth services and youth programming. I think I'm very excited. I know there's a lot of people in the community that want to be involved, and I think this could be a good kickoff for reestablishing a youth bureau or something similar to support the activities that will ultimately happen at the youth center.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilman Kavanaugh.
This is, again, a tremendously good deal for the city and for the community, and a great continued use of this facility that St. Mary's have been great stewards of for many years. In case anyone from the St. Mary's Parish is listening, if you don't have a great use for the $500,000 you're getting for this building and want to donate it back to the city for youth programming at the youth center, that would be awesome. But other than that, they're truly making a tremendous contribution to the wider city. So thanks to them.
And I don't know if this came up in the work session on this, but we learned today on the tour that the St. Mary's Bazaar that is carved out in the contract. So that will continue. We are not the purchase of this building will not have an impact on the bazaar. So which they seem to be getting ready for when we were on the tour. So with that, the clerk can call the roll.
Councilmember Porter,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Dundon,
Aye.
Councilmember Costi,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Council President Matavetsky.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
The resolution passes.
Yay.
All right, now we move on to communications from council. Let's see, where do we start? Let's start with Councilman Dundon.
So the only thing I want to comment on is I would like to thank everybody for supporting me and Kenya on Councilmember Middleton on the responsible bidder. She was my co-sponsor. She helped me work on some of this, and I as she was being educated, she helped out in every way she could. And I just thank y'all for supporting me on this and giving me a unanimous vote. It really meant a lot.
Thank you. We'll move on. Councilman Costi.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the youth center. I'm just really glad the city was able to find a place to purchase for a youth center. Youth centers are beneficial. They provide a safe environment for young people to socialize, learn new skills, engage in constructive activities, and promote personal growth. I know there's been a few failed attempts in the past to build or obtain one. I think we found the perfect spot for this one. We're also going to have $500,000 in leftover grant funding to help renovate with the building, maybe buy some supplies for inside. So I think it's great. And yeah, I just want to thank my fellow council members, the development team, corporation council, and the mayor's office. I think this is a great deal for the city. And I do want to touch on the responsible bidder as well. I think that's also a big win for the city. In the past, we have been burned by developers. I think this bill will safeguard our city's tax dollars without not wanting developers to do business with us in our city. So I just want to personally thank you, Councilman Dundon, for bringing this to the table. He did work diligently for probably 2-3 months on this to make sure the law was thorough and had no holes. And I'll wrap this up with I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July. I didn't get any texts or calls on my phone for any issues, so I'm guessing that we did. We're all lucky to live in the greatest nation in the world. Thank you.
Councilman Hotchkiss.
That was really well said. I have no comments. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Kavanaugh. He passes. Councilman Middleton.
Just a few things. Next week on Tuesday, July 16th, we are going to have a walkthrough on the west side. We're going to get a flyer together. It's just, there's been a lot of traffic incidents in the 2nd district, and we're going to have a walkthrough. All neighbors are welcome to come. It's July 16th at 10 o'clock. I just wanted to say thank you to Mike. Mike is, Councilmember Dundon. is awesome. And thank you so much for this legislation. It's going to mean a lot to the city, not only now, but in years to come. I also want to continually talk about what I was talking about before. I think like, you know, I always say it doesn't matter what party you are in, Republican or Democrat, but we still have to learn how to respect each other. And also we need to learn how to understand where people come from and why they think and why they act the way they act. All of us are not granted a certain life or a certain lifestyle, and we need to start having compassion and grace. Once we have those things, then we can make our nation great.
Thank you, Councilman Porter.
Congratulations, Councilman Dundon, on this responsible bidder. It is needed, and for especially for our local developers, the Southern Land Trust, it would be very helpful to them and other developers within locally. I've been contemplating a lot of things of lately, and based on being disappointed behind Supreme Court and their decision on their immunity, and watching how certain things are being played out, it's disheartening. To go back to something that was very atrocious and to move forward into something that is very detrimental to our democracy. I think we got about maybe 15 days left before voting, something like that. I'm probably off by a couple numbers. I fear for this government and the people. And as much as one said that this is a greatest nation, but it sure is not looking like it. I'm hoping for people to vote, and I just wish people can do better and just do right, not an allegiance to a party, and not an allegiance to a certain ideology. Just do right by the people in this nation. Do right by the people in this nation and by the basic thing that we need, the basic things of needing that shouldn't be an issue. It's basic. And the basic is shelter, food, and healthcare. It is not a privilege. It's a right. So, that's my feeling on that. Like I said, I'm disappointed in how this is going, and makes me rethink about what my part is on this council. That's how disheartening it is for me. So that's it for me.
Thank you. Not to echo everyone else, but thank you again for bringing this legislation forward, Councilman Dundon. One of the speakers that from the public hearing or public comment on it that really impacted me was a gentleman who was talking about having to be away from his family so much for work. So that was something that kind of wasn't echoed today in the discussion, but was something that really touched me. So I just wanted to share that. I certainly would be not thrilled if my husband had to travel long distances for work. Okay, so news from my district. I want to say thank you to Binghamton Fire Department for your response to the fire on Corbin Ave. I wanted to make people aware that Vines is looking for volunteers for this Saturday, July 13th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. to put up a new fence at the Corbett Street Garden. No experience is necessary. Sign up on their Facebook page, which is facebook.com/vinesgardens. There's a little form to fill out if you are interested in helping create a fence. Next, Ross Park Zoo has their Sunday Safari. It's July 13th, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Last tickets sold at 7 p.m. Many nonprofits will be dishing up special animal themed Sundays, so it will be a good time. Nice to see everyone. It's been hot. Ice cream is yummy. And they did have some non-dairy vegan type options. See their Facebook for some of the themes. Ross Park Zoo is also offering group fitness classes. You can see their website for that. Discovery Center has too many events coming up to list, so see on their website. I meant to mention this at the last meeting, but I saw on Facebook, I wanted to say a goodbye to Mima's. They announced on Facebook that they're closing. That's a pizzeria on South Side East. It was delicious. And one of the few places where when I had to go out and interact with constituents on South Side East, that I could stop and grab dinner for my family on the way home when I'm, rushed and all of that. So definitely will be missing and already missing Mima's. I did want to say hello to the up and coming, there's a deli / shop opening soon at the old Subway location on Tompkins and Conklin. It's open now. Last I talked to them, they were getting some final permits. So that's good news to hear that they're open. Appreciate that. And then Southside Second Sundays is coming up July 14th in the Southside Commons. The bands were BHS Juice Blenders, Steel Drum Band, and Devin Lawton Band. So that's coming up this weekend. So there's lots of good stuff happening in the South Side. Hope to see you there. And with that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Dundon, seconded by